Hello everyone and welcome back to a brand new video and welcome to the start of Season 2 of our F124 Driver Career Mode. Yes, we're back this weekend, of course, here in Bahrain. If you missed out on pre-season testing and obviously all of the driver transfer news and everything else like that, I would highly recommend going back and checking out. Of course, today, obviously we've got those new rule changes, we've got the confirmation of who is driving where for this new season. A couple of interesting moves, of course. Kevin Magnussen back on the grid, replacing obviously the Valtteri Bottas, who I assume has retired. Yuki Tsunoda bizarrely going to Ferrari in a straight swap between him and Carlos Sainz. Again, we can only assume that Sainz is obviously planning on getting back into the Red Bull main team further down the line. Of course, apart from that, though, it was a fairly quiet winter. Not too many teams are willing to change up their rosters, but hopefully, as we continue through this game, it is going to make things very, very interesting. Of course, obviously, we have got the new department shutdowns, though. So aerodynamic, chassis, and durability this year have all been shut down. It is now just an engine development race, and that hopefully is going to play into our hand, because, of course, we have got a lot of engine components sorted out already onto this car. Of course, I mentioned in that video, we did just completely randomize it, which I thought was going to be quite fun as well further down the line. But of course, yeah, we're back in Bahrain though this weekend. We had a good result here last season. Taking a look, obviously, at some of our goals, obviously throughout the free practice sessions and things like that. These all obviously are becoming a little bit easier as we slowly obviously get the development level all the way up to 3 on all of these programs. But yeah, if you're new around here, please do make sure you get yourself subscribed as well. We are getting very close to 130,000 subs at the moment. And yeah, let's head out then onto the track here in Sakhir.
The long wait is over. This is it, a brand new season. And before the show gets well and truly underway, we've got the all-important matter of a free practice session. It's great to be back. So much unknown before we get underway. So what will be going through the drivers' minds as they get ready for the new season?
The faster you can work around the circuit conditions and get the car tailored to your liking, the better, and then you can just focus on the job in hand in terms of lap times. But first of all, you've got to get the car feeling right.
But a new car then ready for this new season, and safe to say, I think it's going to be a bit of a handful this year. Of course, we've got all of the extra power upgrades that obviously we applied last year, except for we've got none of the brakes, none of the chassis, none of the aerodynamics. I mean, already this car is feeling very, very twitchy on my opening lap here in free practice. But of course, at the end of the day, I am a firm believer in the best kind of Formula 1 racing, or the best kind of racing in general, is when the drivers are struggling to handle the car. That's kind of the goal, apparently, with these new changes ready for the sport this year. So everyone is going to have more power than they can realistically handle. It's a bit like Formula 1 back in the old turbo era of the 1980s. We're not quite at the 1500 horsepower mark, though. Well, the other thing that I'm really going to have to try and get used to quite quickly is how much bigger the braking zones are. It's only about 10-15 meters further back, but that really makes a difference in a Formula 1 car where the braking zones are, 80-90 meters. We do get a purple score, though, to kick things off. Obviously, first round of the year, we do put quite an emphasis on free practice, as we've got to get up to pace. Well, the other, there are quite a few fun quirks that we're going to discover throughout F124 with this all-new kind of randomizer that you can apply to the game. And immediately, another one I'm discovering, of course, is how easy the fuel-saving program now is, because we can save so much time down the straights. And obviously we've got less downforce and less drag into the corners. I mean, there's like well over, I would have thought it's millions of combinations that obviously you can end up with between the upgrades you've got on the car and the random perks that you've applied as well. So we make our way though through the final couple of corners. Want to see if we can try and clutch up a nice purple score. We'll try and blend out the throttle. Just about, there we go. I think I'll see you guys in qualifying.
Under the bright lights of Bahrain, it is time for qualifying. Grid position up in the air. Who is going to seize the moment?
Well, as we head out into qualifying then, you've really got one of two options with the way you set up the car now. Either you take that extra power and you apply a little bit more downforce so you can try and control it a bit more, or you take that extra power and you absolutely throw it at making sure you've got a missile in a straight line. I've gone with the former for this first round of the year. Bahrain now is actually quite a high downforce circuit, and I want something that is quite a stable platform underneath us here. You can see now, as track temperature has cooled off, we're on that sticky set of the soft compound tyre. We've got a little bit more grip through turn 1 and turn 2. The car honestly handles a bit more like they did on F123, weirdly, because of this as well. But what I love, yes, is it genuinely feels like a step into the unknown. It feels like a brand new game again. The other, obviously, interesting aspect is we've got no idea how competitive we're going to be. Maybe this is the year Haas really try and make that breakaway away from the midfield runners. Maybe we can start challenging some of the big teams on the regular, as Lando Norris, fastest time for him. Now, of the final corner, again, a little bit of a wobble as we try and put the power down. What is the time going to be, though? 29. We go slower than Albon, but quicker than Hulkenberg. Well, if you watch the end of yesterday's preview show ready for the new season, you'll also remember I did mention there that the rule that we ended up picking this year probably has actually screwed over Haas a little bit. Obviously, we've got a very good power unit in this car by default, but it's not particularly good aerodynamically or the chassis.
30 seconds left in the session.
And of course, because everyone's back to 0, it's basically just completely dependent on what your chassis was at the start of the game. So we might genuinely be in quite big trouble here. We've got to try and see ourselves into Q2, which currently neither Hulkenberg or I are in. Well, looks like Hulkenberg's then improved himself into safety there as we find a couple of extra tenths as we make our way up the hill. I would really hope, that we are quicker than the likes of Sauber and Williams here, especially, you think Sauber have got exactly the same power unit as us, but obviously we have a slightly better car, simply because we've got more of those power unit upgrades on it. But through the final corner, you can see Magnussen on his return to Formula 1, P17 provisionally. We're going to find 4 more tenths, though. That should be a safety into Q2, P13. It's good, but it's not brilliant. And there we go, Max Verstappen ahead of Ferrari's new boy Yuki Tsunoda. Lando Norris in P4 ahead of Alonso there. You can see Hulkenberg and myself sandwiching Lewis Hamilton. Carlos Sainz on his return to what was Toro Rosso is now VCarb, out-qualifying Daniel Ricciardo as well. Oscar Piastri just squeezing by. Well, we've only got one set of tyres then as we make our way out into Q2. And we need to try and get down into the mid 1 minute 28s there. We need to find half a second over the time I did in Q1. I definitely am building up more and more confidence in the car, but with only one set of tyres here in Q2, I'm not going to hold my breath. I would like to go quicker than Sainz, though. That's kind of the big goal here. Maybe Stroll and Ocon as well. But Alpine look quick, and that line is not. Terrible. Absolutely terrible down at the first corner. Can't let it get away from me, though. We've still got to try and set a time. I don't want to go 1-0 down to Hulkenberg either. He has come back kicking this year. Really feels like he worked out a lot of what went wrong last time. Looked through a lot of our data over the winter as well. Try and thread our way through this chicane, though. Again, you've just got too much power. I'm so used to having a car with a bit more downforce than this relative to the speed we're carrying. It is so difficult. It is so weird trying to handle this thing, because it does feel like a completely different beast. Locking up the front inside wheel. This lap is just not one to write home about so far. Come on, what's the gap going to be to Esteban Ocon by the end of Sector 2? Oh, it's a big gap, 8 tenths of a second down on the Alpine driver. There's no way we're seeing Q3. But I'm not even sure we're going to go quicker than our teammate here. I don't actually know what time Hulkenberg set, but I would assume it was in the 1 minute 28. So one more corner to go, tip it in. I've definitely built up a lot more confidence in the car as the weekend's gone on, but nowhere near enough. Open up the DRS up towards the line. 29.3. We end up P15. And there we go then, Red Bull all-conquering at the front of the field. I must admit, though, I'm impressed with how Tsunoda's getting on so far in his first time out in red. Oscar Piastri, again, the last car to squeeze through into the next session. But yeah, that wasn't a particularly good representative from me, but we've got our work cut if we want to start the year with some points.
No more testing, no more practice. This is the real deal. And it's make or break here at round 1 of this year's Formula 1 World Championship. Formula 1 returns to the desert today and this exceptional 3.36 mile circuit. 15 corners provide plenty of overtaking opportunities, and it could be a strategic race, this one, with Sakir notorious for eating up the rear tyres. Watch out for drivers managing their rubber at some point during the Grand Prix. Off the back of a fantastic qualifying session, it's time to see how our starting grid looks like for today's race. World champion Max Verstappen starts from pole position. Sergio Perez lines up alongside. Considering the rest of the grid, we have Leclerc, Norris, Fernando Alonso, Tsunoda, Russell, Hamilton, Oscar Piastri, Gasly, Ocon, Stroll, Sainz, Hülkenberg, Mr. Monaco, Albon, Ricciardo, Magnussen, Joe, and Logan Sargent. Now, it's almost time for lights out, so let's go down to the track. Welcome to the commentary box. I'm Alex Jakes. Alongside me is Anthony Davidson. Well, welcome back. Let's start with a nice, easy question. How do you stop Max Verstappen?
That's what they're hoping for. And that's what we're hoping for as well in some ways, because we don't want to see just one driver or one team running away with it this season like we had last year or even the years gone by in this sport. Can we get to see a two-way or even a three- or four-way fight throughout this race today? Fingers crossed we'll get that.
Well, here we are then on the grid, ready for the opening round of the all-new season. Of course, once again, the question remains, who is going to be able to stop Max Verstappen? The second half of the last year was very interesting, and then, of course, as we saw, Verstappen came back with a dominant win to finish out the campaign there. We're going to try and do a one-stop. The team clearly don't believe it's possible, but we're going to try and take the mediums as far as we can early on, go to a set of hards, and then maybe have to use a set of the softer compounded tyre right towards the end of the race there. But I think the one-stop's going to be the way to go. However, tyre wear is probably going to be more difficult to manage this year because, of course, everyone's got more power, but no extra downforce or anything like that to kind of nurse the tyres as well. So it's a real step into the unknown here in Bahrain, but it is going to be 5 red lights here in Sakir. A mighty long hole, but it is going to be lights out, and away we go. Hülkenberg not doing too well there, as it looks like pretty much everyone else around us is going to be on the softer stage of tyre there. Albon gets off to a lightning getaway in towards the first corner, as I see Zhou Guanyu, Kevin Magnussen trying to make an impact through turn 1. Side by side with the Williams will go off of the turn. Oh, I don't want to do a Nikita Mazepin, please, as Hülkenberg already trying to recover a couple of places as well. We all know just how important the DRS is going to be early on in this race, as around the outside of the Williams at the top of the hill. Sainz has had a lightning start. He's already up into the points in that V car. What a getaway that is by Carlos Sainz there, as Ocon and Piastri dispute P11. Albon will get back past me, so we'll try and return the favour yet again as we make our way down into the hairpin there, but really difficult to warm up the rubber. There's Alonso trying to hang on to those Red Bulls at the front. Charles Leclerc trying to do the same thing there as well. Stroll locks up, gets away with it, able to get the power back down, but Red Bull 1 and 2 then on the opening lap of the all-new season, so yeah, I think everybody knows they've got to try and latch onto them as early as they can, and one of those Ferraris, like I said, I'm pretty certain it is Charles Leclerc there, trying to do exactly that. We've gained 1 place though off the start. Shame it was only on my teammate. Well, one of the things we spoke about so much last season is just how important it is that you stay in the DRS range. Of course, we don't really know whether AI going for a 1 or a 2 stop strategy here, so we just want to try and hang on. I would assume if they're on softs, they're going to be 2 stopping. So Oscar Piastri is kind of the unknown for us. I can't get over, though, how well Sainz has done, as Alpine now definitely seem to be a threat as well for good points. It's always a bit difficult to tell with Aston Martin. Alonso's doing really well. Stroll isn't. But it is going to be really interesting to see just how far the AI can go on their set of the soft compounded tyre. You know, if tyre is going to be this high, it might be that a lot of races this year are 2 stop strategies, which would be really, really cool, I think, and actually make this series very, very interesting as well. As Tsunoda and those well, I'm guessing it's Tsunoda and the Mercedes still fighting at the front of this group. They're kind of keeping everybody else in check, apart from Hülkenberg and Logan Sargent at the rear of the field, who seem to be having their own squabble, but they are kind of losing time to everybody. This is not good for Hülkenberg. He's got to make this first stint, you know, play out nicely. I think we're just starting to see a steady transition away. Whoa. from the soft-compounded tyre. That might be the most audacious dive bomb I think I've ever done on this game. And obviously we did one like that in Abu Dhabi on Lance Stroll. So clearly, you know, although there might be a completely different rule package and things like that this year, my continual bullying of Lance Stroll is here to stay. I'm staggered we didn't go into the back of Oscar Piastri, though, in that moment, to be honest. I'm also trying to make sure that I haven't lost the DRS.
Let's try to be consistent with it going forward, please.
Yeah, I'm sure I can do that. Come on, stay in the range of Oscar. It is so difficult to put the power down in this car. But it has got a lot of it. That's a real shame. A real shame for Carlos Sainz early on. Having an absolutely stellar debut with the Visa Cash App Racing Bulls team, although Perez is doing pretty well in that Red Bull. Of course, that's going to be a lot of the narrative as well this season between those two teams. You know, are we going to see Perez potentially get a boot down into the B team, depending on whether Max Verstappen absolutely destroys him again? What this also might do is actually create a bit of a gap between Lando, Norris, and kind of the final couple of points positions here. Sainz still in that 9th, but yeah, I'm sure he's going to get hounded very soon. So it really does depend on how quickly those Alpines can get round him. Here goes Pierre Gasly to the outside of the Spaniard down towards turn 1. They're still side by side into that first corner, but this is just costing them all time. Not good really for any of these guys in terms of their strategy, with maybe the exception of Piastri. Because here we go, Gasly again, Ocon to the outside as well. They're almost 3 wide as they make their way up the hill. Ocon decides better of it. Piastri is just going to sit there watching on. So we're going to try and capitalise on the McLaren, maybe? Yes, down the inside we'll go. A power move there up into P12 as, what is this? Ocon, of course, doesn't spot me. We'll still try and have a look around the outside in the end. As, yeah, the soft tyres are definitely starting to struggle.
Use overtake.
Down the inside of Esteban. Ocon will try and go there as well. Someone in front locking up as well. It is all kicking off here at the moment, as Gasly hasn't got the DRS somehow on Carlos Sainz. Surely he's going to be able to steamroll around him, though, as it was one of the Mercs then that locked up. Was it George the Bottle Job Russell, or was it Lewis Hamilton? We don't know yet. Right, come on then, Carlos Sainz. Let's see if we can try and get a run on him as we make our way. Oh, hello.
You're going to be on hards next time.
Up into the points we go then, for the first time this season. Always nice to do it. As it was, yeah, George Russell that made that mistake. But you can just see, yeah, one lock-up and one driver struggling. Immediately, the field gets spread back out. As Gasly now trying to hang on to the two in front of him. We've got to try and stick with Pierre. Oh, okay. Quite a few cars then diving into the pit lane. So that's very, very early then, as Verstappen is one of them.
Reminder that you can play around with the RS modes in the MFD, or lift sometimes and ease onto the brake pedal for some manual recharge.
So I'm very intrigued to see whether Perez also started on the mediums or whether he's just had to go the one extra lap on his softs. But yeah, I mean, our medium tyres are getting pretty worn out here. So we're still not safe for a one-stop. George Russell into the pit lane then. So even, yeah, the medium runners can't take their tyres very far here.
If you hit that target, that sets us up nicely for the rest of this race.
Okay, Sonoda's gone hards, so...
Windows open, so let's box this lap, Okay, so gap to the car ahead, 4.0 seconds.
This is really, really interesting then. So Ricciardo and Magnussen have somehow gone further on their softs than most could on their mediums. Hulkenberg, of course, is still out there on his hards from the start. Verstappen's gone on another set of mediums, so he is definitely two-stopping. We've already got the tyre wear warning light, but to be honest, the car just feels loose and lively anyway. If we can get these to the end of lap 12, then we'll try a one-stop. Honestly, I'm getting 2013 Australia vibes at the moment. No one can handle their tyres, and in that race, Kimi Räikkönen was actually able to win just because he was able to make a two-stop work when everyone else had to 3. This is really fascinating. Yep, I think that's our reminder. We cannot use these mediums anymore. Huge rear lock-up there down at the final corner. We were lucky to hang on to it. So we'll try and get the car... Well, we'll turn the tyres into 50p pieces there on the way into the pit lane. But yeah, we've definitely lost out a few seconds to some of our rivals as well, which is not ideal. Still got a few more cars that need to pit, though. Magnussen and Ricciardo have done a fantastic job on their first set.
Problem attaching the right rear wheel. We need to try and put that behind us, and let's finish this race strong.
First pit stop of the year. Very first pit stop of the year, and it goes wrong. Absolutely love that by the Haas team.
2 stops remaining in this strategy.
So yeah, we're going to come out basically then back where I started. Is all the cold tyres don't work. What on earth is that there? P8. Oh, Esteban Ocon there gave me a squeeze as well. It's just all going wrong. All so wrong. Down to P17 we go then. But, I mean, there's still a lot more to play out from this race as Albon locks up P16. Oh, we got yellows. Oh, I think that's Zhou Guan Yu. No, it's not. It's one of the Mercs has gone round. We got a roadblock. George Russell's gone for a spin.
No overtaking, please. We'll see you in the pit lane.
We're going to be really cheeky there. Oh, that screwed us, though.
Loose debris. Fortunately, the...
Oh, that has really screwed us over. Of course, everyone else now is going to be able to make a switch over to the hards to see him through to the end. But I was literally just about to say how unpredictable the races might be this year.
Far, but this is a chance to take a breath. We've got another half of this race to go, and there's still a big opportunity there.
I did not know that we had another set of the hard tyres. It's not gone as badly as it could have for us then. I've got no idea on what position we are restarting this race, but let's see how we get underway. P14. So we didn't gain all those spots. It is 5 red lights though. And it's going to be lights out, and away we go. It was a very wheel spinny getaway. Sights on there, man. Please spot me as Hulkenberg has been absolutely carried in all of this. He's going to be right up towards the front of the order. He's P2. Nico Hulkenberg. What a well-timed red flag that was for him there as we bang wheels with Lance Stroll. Same between the McLarens and George Russell off the corner. But I can't get over that for Nico Hulkenberg. That has worked out gloriously for our teammates. What's going on? Tsunoda's locked up. We picked up front wing damage off the back of the Ferrari as he rejoins erratically. Turns out our hard tyres weren't brand new, but they're not bad. And suddenly that wing damage might be really bad for us as... Well, I'd say I don't know what the AI's rejoining is like still whenever they lock up on this game. We'll try and get around the outside of Russell.
Replacing if it takes too much damage.
We're basically hoping for another safety car now, aren't we? At some point, it's down the inside of the Merc will go. Up into P9. But, I mean, look at that for Hulkenberg. He's been able to keep up with Verstappen off the restart. All he's got to try and do is hang with him in the DRS and hope Checo hasn't done the same. And maybe Nico Hulkenberg, a very first Formula 1 podium, could be on the cards. Yellows, we've got someone breaking down. I don't know if that's a car in front or behind. Or no one at all. No, it's definitely a car in front, I think. Oh, no, it's the other McLaren. It's Lando Norris, who's out of the Grand Prix. Could that be another safety car? I would love it if it was. Norris out of the race, but I don't think we're going to get it. And that's really sad for us. Here comes George Russell. Down the inside goes the Merc. Would love to still fight for points.
Okay, they're out of this race.
Yeah, funnily enough, Mark, we already knew that. But yeah, Russell will sneak back by. We've got to try and hang with him. Oh, we've got nothing. We've got absolutely nothing at the moment. I need to get these tyres a couple more laps, though, so we can try and go on a set of mediums to the end again. But I don't want to alarm anyone. Nico Hulkenberg has just taken the lead away from Max Verstappen here. Max, I think, is trying to come back at him. He's going to really trip them both over. But Hulkenberg is absolutely having the race of his life right now. Hasn't led a Grand Prix, I think, since Brazil 2012. But he could be in the fight today.
Teammate ahead, 9.3 seconds. And gap to the car in front, 1.8 seconds.
I'm still there. How are the AI not spotting me on the outside of them? As Lance Stroll will make it through. Sainz will go around my outside as well. I just got to get these tyres to the end of 18 so we can go mediums to the flag. So annoying. Oh, here we go. Esteban Ocon down the inside. I'll try and claim some DRS off him. I mean, look at that. We just got nothing. One of the Saubers almost runs into the back of me there. Zhou Guan Yu. Yeah, Sauber are not really having a particularly fun day of it. As, there we go. Clean back around the outside of Ocon back down towards turn 1. All I'm really thinking about at the moment is hopefully we're going to catch these guys up by the end, as that's another Sauber. Kevin Magnussen that time around having a look for it. So there are plenty of battles still going on. I just want to hope, yeah, that we got the pace in the second half of the race. Oh no, Magnussen down the inside. I mean, we can't really do a lot about it. You can see how much time we're losing. We can do that about it, though, as Magnussen tries to take the other half of my wing. I mean, yeah, all I'm thinking about at the moment is every lap we can hold these guys up. Well, hopefully me and I've got less time to try and fight back towards the end. We are going to box at the end of this lap, though. Get a new wing, get a new set of mediums on. But yeah, unless we see another safety car, we can't really do a lot here, to be honest. Annoyingly as well, I can see on my mini-map, Hulkenberg has lost touch with those Red Bulls. Well, I guess if anything, we're going to try and give the team a little bit of pit stop training here as through down the final corner. Up into the pits, make sure I don't get done.
We've got to focus on the pit stop.
I was going to say, yeah, that tyre wear program might be made suddenly very easy if I'm on a completely fresh set of rubber. But yeah, as we make our way in there, we've got 11 laps left of this race. I haven't completely given up hope. Maybe something will happen towards the end of this race. You know, Russell will go for another spin. There's a lot of cars very bunched up. There could still be contact.
That was a fantastic stop, faster than we were expecting.
I can just see one red dot moving down the order. I'm worried that is Hulk.
Stop left in this strategy.
I would love to see him score his first Grand Prix points, though, of this career mode. Yeah, obviously he only scored points in the sprint last year. Well, I'm still eyeing up that gaggle of cars right towards the rear of the field there. Alex Albon, the gap now, it's already come down by more than 3 seconds. Problem is, of course, they've still got DRS off each other. So we're going to need about 2.5 seconds a lap between now and the end. Hulk, no! No! Oh, for God's sake. I didn't realise the only reason Hulkenberg was doing so well off the restart was the fact the team were going to box him. I completely forgot to consider the fact he'd already used a set of hard compound tyre. Damn it, Nico. I thought points were on the board, at least for one of us today.
You hit that target. Really good job.
And we are last and second to last. I guess my only other hope is that maybe more AI have to pit before the end, and that we can at least try and beat anyone. I cannot believe that for our teammate, though. I thought that red flag was perfectly timed. No. Well, really, now we are just out here as a bit of a test session towards the end of the race. We got 4 laps to go. I was kind of holding out a little bit of hope that maybe other drivers are going to have to pit again before the end. Hulkenberg seems to have closed back in on Logan Sargent, but yeah, seemingly this is going to be a weekend for Haas absolutely to forget, and not the ideal start to the all-new season. What I have also decided...
13.2 seconds.
As soon as I say it. As soon as I say it! Now, this has been a race to forget. And we've had a mechanical. My very first on F124. And just like last year, you get no warning of it. It just goes up on you. And we are out of the Bahrain Grand Prix. A disappointing day gets even worse.
Smiling faces on the pit wall then after that superb win here at Sakir, and rightly so. A brilliant effort from the whole team.
Well, all their off-season work clearly paying off here today. A brilliant way to start the season with a solid victory. It's a real good confidence boost as well, and you feel like that's going to really propel them forward through to the next race coming up.
Red Bull put up an outstanding fight for the front position today, and it's great to see it paid off for them. They do so much for the sport that you can't help but be delighted by today's race win.
Well, there we go then. Just like we saw last year, Max Verstappen, he's going to kickstart the year with a win here. Sergio Perez in P2 ahead of Charles Leclerc and Fernando Alonso. Hamilton beats out Tsunoda. Gasly gets a couple of big points in for Alpine as well. And Carlos Sainz, what a way to showcase to Red Bull that you are a driver that they need again. Their points in his very first race of the all-new season, able to hold off ahead of Stroll, Ocon and Zhou Guanyu, who all arguably have quicker cars there than that team. Hulkenberg does recover to P15 in the end, got absolutely screwed over with that red flag, and just myself and fellow Brit Lando Norris unable to see the checkered flag. Championship-wise, of course, same as our race results. Constructors, Red Bull leading Ferrari there, as we are ahead of Williams by virtue of Hulkenberg's slightly better result. But honestly, I think the best thing for us to do is just put Bahrain behind me today. At least we've kind of got our first mechanical failure done and dusted. So I guess, you know, we can try and, you know, view the positives where possible. But you guys know as well, of course, I'm always someone that whenever we have a bad race in these series, we have a bad race. That's just the way it goes, you know. It's not all just sunshine and rainbows. And yeah, this one has been an absolute stinker. However, I do think there's a lot of potential for some crazy races with these cars over the course of the campaign as well. So thank you all so much for watching. If you have enjoyed, please do make sure to leave a like, get yourself subscribed, and we will be back tomorrow when Formula 1 returns ready to the Jeddah Corniche. Hopefully such a power-sensitive circuit is going to favour our car.